Okay, this is the September 29th, 2025 Municipal Budget Committee meeting. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't hear from either Dan or Gabby. I assume they'll be here, but especially Dan had just emailed.
Someone's
so-
here.
But yeah,
Even two.
yeah, there's just Dan. And
You're fine.
so we just said the pledge and
Perfect timing.
perfect timing, exactly. So we have the full board. First item on the agenda is minutes for review approval. I had emailed out all of the draft minutes that Michelle had put together for us. The first would be, I need a motion and a second on the August 18th site walk for the clerk tax collector. I believe I forgot to put this into the packet last time, so that's why it's kind of an old one.
Moved. I made a motion.
Motion, second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the August 18th, 2025 site walk for the clerk's tax collector. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Oh, we have some abstains, but we have enough. That's okay.
Dan, are you and I?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
So we have 4.
We had
Oh,
Gabby.
yeah. I've been
Gabby,
crawling around
Letty.
and whatnot for the whole time. I've been here.
And
You and I.
Yep.
According to
According to the
the
minutes.
planning board, you can still vote on the minutes, even if you weren't there.
Were you not there? It was in the room down the hall with Daphne?
I don't know. I asked that question. And
So,
apparently,
so Gabby was there. Gabby is an aye.
Okay, so 402, 403. Right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Next is the September 8th. That's the regular session, our regular meeting that was held on September 8th.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 8th BudCom meeting.
second.
Thank you. You have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That's good. Next is the September 25th site walk with the finance director. Again, Michelle, thank you so much. I mean, that was pretty quick that you got both of these done. You, the whole board.
Thank you for not summarizing in more detail what that meeting was like.
Sure.
I'll make a motion.
So I have a motion from Letty,
Second.
second Kat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we have 2 abstains.
Aye.
Okay.
And then the September 25th site walk that we had at the Grange Building with Dexter Swayze from the Historic Society. And for those who missed it, you missed the real fun one. Well, I'm sure he'd be happy to give you a tour of the basement and the attic if you ask him to.
Wear boots.
Yeah, Laura didn't stay up there very long. So I need a motion and a second on that, the Grange Building.
Motion. Second.
Motion Kat, second Letty. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Dan?
Abstain.
Okay. 304? 4 abstains?
1, 2, 3, 4 ayes, right?
Letty was an abstain.
Yeah.
I didn't
Letty
go.
wasn't there.
Well,
Oh,
I
you
mean, I've been there before. Does that count?
I think the planning board's right.
Okay. Yeah, I'll vote yeah.
Cool.
Okay, that takes care of all of the minutes. Next item is updates from the select board and then the school board. So Letty, any updates?
The select board is gonna get our first 3 budgets presented tomorrow night. Yeah. Last week, I attempted to kind of discuss with the board if we wanted to have a plan as we went through these budgets for what we were trying to aim for. The board was not prepared to have that discussion or interested. We did talk briefly about a couple different things. I suggested switching to January to December for everyone's wages, just to make the budget stuff easier, both for department heads and for the average person to understand, because the way it is with 13 weeks and 32 weeks, it sometimes looks like people are getting a larger raise than they actually are because of the way that works. Nobody seconded that motion, so that died. Sad death.
I spoke in favor.
I hear you. I'm just letting everyone know it died. And then I had also asked for, or we had I guess we discussed getting more detailed information for every budget about kind of like just what goes into making up each line. For the most part, that ends up being related to people, which is actually kind of easy because you can say, this is what this person made now. Here's what they're going to make next year. Here's the difference. Here's how it all carries out. But I don't think I'm looking, there aren't really good examples. So tomorrow it's going to be emergency management, conservation, and welfare, which are not great examples of detailed budgets. We have hired a building inspector. Oh, yes.
I was just going to ask, could you send me a copy? I don't have a copy of the schedule. And as the chair of the cemetery trustees, I should know when I'm supposed to do my budget. And somehow I just think it might be they're sending it to a wrong email or something, but I never got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then, if I remember correctly, we're not meeting next week.
We haven't set up another meeting.
Yeah, we don't have another meeting set up.
Okay. But I'm not that worried because it's 3 relatively small budgets.
Right.
Because you have a school board meeting, right?
Next week.
Yeah. First Monday.
What's that?
First Monday.
First Monday, that's right.
We hired a building inspector. His name's Chuck. He's fantastic. I believe they're interviewing this week initial candidates for both town administrator and police chief. I'm not on either of those initial interview committees, so I'm not sure of the details. And
Do you have any candidates for a rec director?
we do have a whole bunch.
Are they also being interviewed?
Not that I'm aware of currently. But that doesn't mean that they're not. I think just police chief and TA might have
Priorities.
been more of a priority right now. I don't know. Is there anything else? I know there's probably stuff I'm forgetting, but no, I think that's it.
Thank you, Letty. Dan, school.
Yeah, nothing major from the school board front. We recently attended the open house as a way to get out and engage with parents, which was good. The SAU just presented their proposed first draft of a proposed budget. And that's for next school year, 2026-27 school year. That sounds crazy to say. So we took a first look at that in the joint board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we'll take a first look at the Brentwood, the Swayze Elementary School first draft of a budget in our next school board meeting, I believe, which is on Monday, a week from today. That's, yeah, nothing major. That's all I've got, Jim.
Okay. And I mean, just for the record, I email you.
Yep.
This weekend, I saw there was something on Channel 9 about school trust, that they, some sort of a shortfall. And it sounds like school trust is another risk
School
pool.
care, right?
Excuse me, thank you.
Yeah.
School care.
The other one's
Health trust, yeah, health trust. It's similar to health trust. It's a risk pool for insurance.
Right.
And I guess they said that it was like a 12.5% increase. And I just had asked Dan if if that affected SAU 16. Yeah, I thought I saw somewhere that that school SAU 16 uses Health Trust, but I just wanted to make sure.
We do use health trusts, and the way the reason that's top of mind for me is because we even, like, remember we had Eric come in and talk about, there was some legislation that was
Right.
floating around in Concord over the summer that was going to potentially impact health trust folks, and that ended up not passing, so.
Correct.
We're good, and then the school, so therefore I think we're not impacted in terms of budget with the school care deficit gap. But I'm gonna just double check on
Sure,
that.
thank you.
Yep.
I mean, I do think it's interesting that the state brought this whole issue up this year, and they were saying about Health Trust possibly not having enough funds, and Health Trust really fired back.
Yep.
And then it's, what is it, is 6 months maybe? I don't even know. And now School Trust comes out with this like, oh, we're short, and
Yeah.
12.5%. So some of the school districts were definitely not happy, but.
Yeah, talking millions of dollars. for
Right,
some of the larger
correct,
school districts,
correct.
like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if there's an opportunity for the school or the SAU to consider alternative options for health insurance like we are trying to do here. Maybe that could be raised at some meeting that you go to.
I can look into it. I think part of what happens with Brentwood and with SAU 16 is that we sort of join forces with the larger district in order to sort of increase the pool, giving us like more negotiation leverage and things like that. And so in a lot of those types of situations, in order to do something autonomously with Brentwood, it wouldn't really make sense.
No,
but
I didn't mean necessarily just
to
doing Brentwood, but
mobilize-
for the whole SAU to look at alternatives also, as that budget just keeps skyrocketing year after year. Maybe that could be some area that they could look at as well. Just a
Yeah.
suggestion.
Yeah, and their budget's not skyrocketing, and the first draft of the proposed budget that I saw for SAU 16 for next year is flat, so it's the same as what it is this year.
That means no new administrators, Michelle. Praise God.
But in order to pull something like that off, it means like coordinating between like 6 different school boards, because each town has their own board, and then there's a co-op board too, and it's certainly possible. Just a lot of coordination involved. So I can bring it up, and I'll talk to the chair of our board in Swayze and see, because they have like joint chair meetings and things like that for like tighter collaboration on those types of things. So I'll talk to Brian and see if it makes sense to look into that with the other chairs.
And I know some of the employees mentioned to the two of us about why can't we, because we're currently with Health Trust in the small, what was it called? Small group January, right? And so it's under 50, and you have a January to December budget.
Right.
And someone asked, well, why can't we get into the could our town employees get in with the SAU? But we were told by other employees that that's not possible because you're a bigger pool, but you're July to June
Okay.
budget, and it won't work.
Gotcha.
At least that's what
So
what we were told. We didn't ask Health Trust about this, but this is what the employees told us.
Yeah, so the real reason is that in order for Brentwood employees to join with SAU employees, the entire joint board would have to approve that.
I thought all the town, or I thought it went before all the towns. Anyway, yeah.
It's a much
Yeah.
bigger, it's a much
Yeah.
bigger
Bigger.
vote.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not even just the
No,
financial
no,
calendar
That's
lining up.
that's
It's
not
way bigger.
nearly as much the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were asked about it. And
Yeah.
It didn't sound like it was something that was possible. Okay, good. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Next is, I have down reviewed and discussed the initial departmental request to the select board. And I apologize for getting you this spreadsheet last minute. I was playing with my grandkids in Waltham today. So, and I did get an update from the finance director Thursday. And when I get these updates, they're in this format like Letty printed out here, right? Whatever this system is called. And it spits it out in a PDF. And, you know, I'm an Excel person, and because PDF doesn't allow you to really do anything with analysis or, you know. So I did get all of them input, and what I did is I took every single one of the sheets, and I basically made a large workbook that has a worksheet for every account. And then in the front, there's a summary tab that links to all of those. And this is just, like I said, this is just a start, what I was thinking, things that we'd like to see. So what if you look at the summary tab, the first column is the 2025 appropriation. I don't know if we can get this up on the screen, Letty. Is it worth, maybe people can see?
You want me to?
Yeah, I have my computer
Oh, okay, yeah,
connected.
I just have to turn the TV.
See.
Which of the two files is it? The one that?
Okay, so the one that's called 2026 Departmental Request Proposed Budget, that's the one I'm talking about. And then I'll just quickly go over that tool that I was talking about. So yeah, if you look at this, the first column is just, and there are some hidden columns there for later when we get into hours. But this is just showing the 2025 appropriation. And then the department request is in that column C. And then you can see D&E just showing the increase. And then in those columns K through P, it's just pulling out the salary lines from the budget. And my thinking was, you can put in, like in this case, we were going with a 3% raise, so you could put in a number up in that column R, and it'll populate itself through all of the salaries for each of the tabs to kind of give you a rough idea if you were at 2% or 5%. If you went to the bottom,
I
you'd
just
see.
want to make sure for anyone who's listening at home or listening to this later, that 3% that you put in was literally just a placeholder because the select board has not yet decided what, if
Absolutely.
any, COLA there's going to be this year.
Correct, which is why I kind of made it a variable thing here. But I like the approach of, you gave them something, Letty, to at least use, because without that, they really would have, you'd struggle because you wouldn't know what the heck to put in there. Everybody would have their own assumption. So like I said, this is just a start. This is the select board numbers. At this point, I don't really have a lot of comments about the numbers themselves. I mean, you can just see, if I'm looking more from you, is there something else you'd like to see on the summary tab? Or if you look at each individual tabs, put an easy one, it's just a typical account summary that we get. And back to, maybe I'll show you a good one here. The cemetery one's not all that busy, but we go to.
I have a silly question.
Oh, sure. On the summary?
Well, yeah,
I'll go back.
and I'm sorry if it's totally silly, but remind me, I don't have it right now, but last year's, the 6.7, did that include the full year of people's compensations that were, like the people that were hired and were approved for hires?
what are you
last year
talking about?
During the town meeting?
Sorry.
So like when we look at our total 6.7 million, right? Did that include all of those warrants and everything else?
It does not.
No warrants in there.
So I think that maybe we should have that, because then we're
Why
comparing,
do I have a different number?
we have a total without the, like, we are not looking at the total that was approved at the town meeting, I guess.
Yes, that might make sense.
All it's doing, Letty, is linking to those other tabs. So
I
I don't know if
understand.
one sheet is off.
I
'Cause
know that.
I've
We
not gotten a better
Michelle
one.
and I love to play this game where we read numbers over and over to each other.
Right.
It's only off by like $600, so I'm not worried about it. It's probably just a typo somewhat. Yes, so I have another one that has operating budget as its own line. Like, this is the detail of operating budget. And then and then it has the other warrant articles as well.
But would it be, I guess, because Jim asked what we would want to see, right? I think it would be helpful, because this is for us, right?
Yes.
To have a column between B and C, and, or two columns, and have a column like, these were the warrants for these departments, and this was the total as approved at the town
Got you.
meeting.
Yeah.
Because then we would be comparing, and then the percentages should go off that and not of the,
So like, for example, with rec,
right.
yeah, because next year that will in theory be rolled into the budget.
Otherwise, we're looking at
Okay, so
appropriations are,
in between column B and C, put like a warrant, like
Mhm.
if it was a specific department, the warrant was related to a specific
Right.
department, we could put the warrant amount there
And then the total.
and then the total. Okay.
Total is
yeah,
approved at the
sure.
town meeting, because I
Sure.
feel like that's gonna be helpful for people as well, because that easily traceable. You can say this amount was approved at the town meeting.
Great idea.
And isn't that the number that we need to be going from 4%?
Correct.
Right.
Yep. Yes.
Jim, one other thing that I think is typically really helpful when we discuss budgets is talking about actuals. And I saw that you had that on the detail tab,
Yep.
and I wasn't sure if you thought about bringing that in. I just think
Okay.
it might be helpful to.
The,
I
I'm
know it-
I'm glad you asked it, and maybe I left it out on,
Curious.
I'll say I left it out on purpose, but
Yeah, yeah.
here's the concern, and Letty, I'll defer to you as well, but the actuals, I'm not sure how,
Accurate.
right.
I know.
I mean,
I
I thought we've
almost
kind of
wanna
been
look-
told,
And pull what the actual expenditures were for the past like 2 years.
Didn't we talk
Because
about like?
this is a
actuals?
wish list.
I have them for the last 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't we talk though actuals versus,
They're what the system says.
what's the word I'm looking for that when it, because actuals would be through now, right?
Yeah.
But then there's certain numbers that we know that are spent essentially. What's up?
Well, so
Funny you mention that.
that's Liz's idea.
Liz, yeah.
We're
Committed,
calling it
right.
committed.
Thank you, Liz. Sorry, right. I'm blinking a little.
Yeah. We
Or
talked
like
about this
do
last.
subscriptions, you know, are like.
Right.
Like compensation, right? Like salaries, and
Right.
there's certain things that we know gonna be spent. So it
Yeah.
would. I just don't think that when we were looking at it like all the prior years, and we look at a
So the-
point in time, September, that doesn't really.
So the current system does not have the capability to do that. But it made a spreadsheet. But as far as printing reports from the system, I think, yeah, we just have to go with whatever it says as of right now. And as we get closer to the end of the year, maybe we update the year-to-date numbers. And then hopefully we'll have everything closed out before the budget hearing.
Well, I think in every conversation that we have, the department heads pretty much know where they are, what is committed, and if there is flex.
Is that a question or a statement?
Usually this is a discussion, and so I'm wonder if this year no, I don't know what if this
I'm
is a
not
question
sure,
or
I'm
a-
not sure that
statement.
all department heads are that familiar with their budgets. I know some of them are really familiar and keep a tight, close watch on them. Others, I think, do not.
Right.
I know up until recently, they weren't getting regular budget reports, so they didn't even really know where their budgets were at. Yeah, I mean, this
I mean,
committee can decide what it wants.
For sure, I like the idea of what you're saying. I will pull the current expenditure from the worksheets because
Right.
it's there.
Right.
But maybe Letty, you and I can work together on making something, because if you have something that shows you have it for 5 years, maybe we put the last 3 or something, like together, we kind of work together on, no?
So like.
I mean, I kind of like that
So
idea.
what we
because-
were just kind of saying before is that's, as long as there's a caveat of like, this is what
In the
the
system.
Oregon Trail of accounting systems printed out when we said,
Yeah,
please
sure.
show us what was spent in this year. So,
We
yeah.
Yeah.
have
I-
no
I
other
all that.
documented way to show expenditure. It can come from, we could go past 5 years from the audit report, the town report. It should show us
That is only as accurate as the system that you.
I know,
give it
I know.
information on. Okay.
No, I know.
But yeah, I mean.
But I mean, that's where we typically derive our questions from, is when we look at the budget and we're trying to get a handle on what is needed, what happened this year, what is expected to happen. And part of that conversation is what's been spent year to date and what has previously been spent.
So I think it's only in the last year or so that conversation about what has previously been requested and spent has come into the equation.
Okay.
Because I know last year specifically, there are a lot of budgets that were always level funded and no one ever really looked too closely at them because they were level funded. They didn't need any more money. Did I do that? But
Right.
like, if you're level funded but you never use it, then why
Right,
keep giving it?
right.
Sounds like we're talking about two different things, if I'm understanding correctly. The first thing that we're talking about is like empirical, like historical report of expenditures. And then the second thing that we're talking about is more of like a real-time report
Yeah.
of encumbrances, like committed for that.
Yeah. So
That's the word I had.
Definitely two things.
So you have to be careful because the way the town uses the word encumbrance is different than the way the school does. So the way the town uses the word encumbrance is it encumbers money from the current year into the next year. They don't have a word for what the school calls encumbrances, which it took me a very long time to realize.
Which is what she said,
Yeah.
Liz
Committed.
and Lydia have been calling committed.
Yeah. I agree. There's two different things here, and they're both on my wish list for this.
So I just need to know what
Workbook.
the board really would like to see. I purposely left it off
Right.
only because I'm glad this brought up the discussion because I had heard that the numbers aren't that accurate. So I'm not sure what it buys you,
Well,
but
I do think bringing it in creates a tool for discussion because bringing awareness to if it's not accurate, then why?
I also
And
liked
we're
it.
gonna
I
be
think when
working
we
on
did the
it.
town report last year, I'm pretty sure you had 2 years, didn't you, in the town report?
I have 5 or 6. Oh,
No.
for what? For the
Remember you made that really nice summary
for the one that we made for the
in the town report?
in the group, the
Yeah, page
super secret
74 or something.
superhero group.
Yeah, handy
Yes,
dandy.
but I do have it for going back to 2021.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Like Christmas.
It looks really good.
Okay.
Would you
that-
like that in the summary? Would you like to have something like that?
Yeah, I feel like we can expand and collapse it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
because then, like
prior
I said,
year
I'll work with Lady to get those
expenditures.
numbers. We can put something to, we'll work together on making something for us, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you trends potentially.
Oh, wow. But this is the interest.
Yeah.
But if they weren't, it's still
So,
a trend.
Letty,
because
we
they
just
were
got an action
reported the
item.
same-
You got what?
Same increase.
We just got an action item
One
to
of the
add
goals was
that
they
information
would book
to a
things
summary for the
into
entire board.
accounts that-
Okay.
Right.
Do you want me to just send you that column?
Yeah, if
I
you
don't
want,
like-
or the next time we have
It just
meeting, we
creates
can
more awareness over
link our
why
laptops
do
or
we
whatever,
want it?
so.
Why do we
Yeah,
need
okay.
this? You know, if there's caveats to those numbers.
Thank you, Gabby, that's a
Yeah.
really good, thank you. Anything else on this that you'd like to see?
Yeah.
Jim, a clarification, the
No, exactly.
column K, the salary and wages, compared to the department request, those are just pulled out. 2025 wages compared
Yes.
to the same,
So if you look at
Same
column
line.
K, it's just pulling from each of the sheets, what the fiscal year 2025
and
salary
then
and wages
column
were.
L is that salary request.
Column L is what they put in. If you look at these sheets, it's called, I guess it was called departmental request when, on the sheets that Julie gave.
And then you're just comparing that departmental request to a 3%.
Yes. For now, the column O and P, the increase
Yeah,
is a comparison of K and L.
And that's where I think those warrants are important because some of the things were approved last.
Agreed,
Last year.
agreed.
I just
Agreed.
don't want,
okay.
you know. a
Agreed.
reaction
Yep.
Like that, but at the same time, we also need to come back to the departments and say, truly, you're increasing this much and it should be that
Right.
much.
Okay. So,
Silly question, like column C and I guess column L, department request is what they're requesting for fiscal year
26,
26.
yes, yeah,
Wait, so
Just label that.
sure.
C and L are not the same number though.
no, because one is the
Because
total.
one is salary, L
salary.
is just the salary.
K to
So I would maybe
P.
put put salary in there somewhere.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. And then,
And then-
L, just put department salary or
So
wage.
I would also include another column between K and L, or two columns and have as approved per town, so that.
Yeah, there's actually hidden columns here that I can unhide when we get to that.
And then the total.
You mean N doesn't come after L?
Because at this
Sorry.
point, I mean, until we start working with these departments, I was just trying to summarize for now
Yeah.
what data we want, and here's what we have so far. And the
Yeah.
select board hasn't done anything yet, so it's like,
Right.
see the,
No,
I
No,
wasn't-
this is great, especially because you're gonna put.
Uh,
and I think in Excel, we all kind of can do our things with it
Right.
in Excel, where the PDF is
Love
kind
it.
of not
No,
very
this is great.
useful.
Makes those
Okay.
Excel nerds happy.
All right. And again, as we go forward, as we start to get into it, let me know. I mean, this is our file, so it's ours. The only other thing I was going to bring up is, and Letty actually requested this from the select board. She brought this up at their last meetings, and she kind of said it tonight, that she wants to have for each one of those salary lines,
Mhm.
and I'll just go back as a perfect example. I don't know, just grab. So you have like, it just says salary, boom, and there's a number, or wages with a multiple firefighters. And when I do my cemetery budget, there's only one employee, but I was given a template by, at the time, the town administrator, and it kind of shows you the 13, like she was mentioning, the 13 weeks at the current rate, 39 at the future rate, and then it calculates, you put in the FICA, and it figures it out. And Letty's requesting that information for every funded position, and I feel strongly that I support that, and I think we, the budget committee, should also get that information. And to that extent, I didn't want to make it difficult for anybody if they did not have the spreadsheet that the town administrator had given me 2 years ago. I made a simple tool that actually they can enter in the department name. So everything in green is kind of like, I have a little legend here, right? They fill those out. And then the blue is actually a pull down. So you can put in their department, the employee name, the position, and then the type. So you have group 1, group 2, fire, group 2, police, because these pull in different New Hampshire retirement numbers. The FICA numbers are hidden off to the side somewhere, but they can put in whether it's a salaried position or an hourly position. If it's hourly, it asks for the current rate, and then what % increase do you want, and then it calculates everything else. And then you put in how many hours per week, any stipend that is associated with it. Or you can take salary, and you'll see it grays out how many hours a week. Now you put in the current salary, the new, what increase, and it'll automatically populate all the other fields, whether it be Social Security, Medicaid. And again, because some of these change depending on what group employee it is, right? Like if you go to police fire, you can see it negates out the Social Security and just keeps Medicaid and puts in the proper New Hampshire retirement values. And then when I say, are they New Hampshire retirement eligible, because not all employees are, so they can switch this on or off if that employee. The benefits one doesn't do anything yet, but I think the reason why I put a benefits one there is because also at the select board meeting, the finance director mentioned to the select board that she feels that the health insurance cost should be on each of the departmental tabs. And I know it was that way, at least back in 2020 or so. But similar to what we do with FICA and with New Hampshire retirement, it's allocated down to each of the accounts to better get, I feel it gives you a better understanding of your true cost of services. But as she said, it also brings an awareness to it at the departmental level, where if it's sitting off by itself, well, no department really is looking at it. So I kind of just have this here because I sent the request. I told the finance director that I completely agree with her, and that I know the concern was brought up that, and I've heard this before, and I don't have an answer in regards to, are you allowed to put actual health benefit costs at the department level? Because if there's only one employee or two employees, I think someone on the select board or somebody brought up, oh, you can figure out which plan that person picked. I have not gotten a clear answer. NHMA, I went to them to ask. This was before we had a finance director. I was talking to Andrea about this, but NHMA referred me to our local attorney. They said they didn't feel comfortable answering that question on whether we could do it. So I just said to the finance director, I think you should ask the attorney whether you can do this or not. I think you're really on the right track to do it that way, but seek the guidance from our attorney. If we can do it, great, we do it. If they say you can't do it because of the risk, no, that's good, because there's a risk of HIPAA privacy, then I suggested to her that we should just allocate it based on an average benefit cost, meaning hypothetically, if the total bill is $500,000, you have 25 employees, then you just divide it by 25 and you allocate. So if you have 2 employees, you get 2/25 of the cost. If you have 1.5, if you're splitting an employee with another department, you just split it. So at least it brings the awareness to the department level, but there's no HIPAA privacy issues. And it really would be pretty accurate. I mean, it's close enough for what we'd be doing, but, and again, at the total number at the bottom, it would be the same anyways. So I did send that to the finance director last week, just with those 2 suggestions that, because I think she's correct in her recommendation to do it that way.
Hey, Jim, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
not to the benefits, but for police and fire, though, I did work with police more so than fire, but I do have worksheets similar to this. But there's a lot more complication because the overtime.
We've fixed
night
it.
Differentiation.
There's no more shift differential, and there's other, like, they've tried to
But
simplify.
overtime is still there, right?
Overtime is
So
still
we
there.
should probably have at least overtime in here. That's what I was kind of gonna say.
I didn't know that they forecasted overtime to the employee level, though.
They do. There's an assumption that is made.
So
Well,
back to here.
depending
Well,
depending
to
how,
the whole
right, but
department.
that overtime, right, but you still look at hourly, right, like whatever you figure it out for hourly, and then you use certain number of hours of either average or a higher rate. I'm just putting it out there because that was a big one.
Mhm.
Well, I did help Wayne with the highway, which again, is probably not as complicated as police or fire, but on the overtime, it was just a percentage of the total that he had.
Oh, it's
as
only
wages.
police and fire that are complicated.
Okay,
That's why I'm saying that groups, like group 1 is easier, straightforward.
okay.
Going
If-
back to the benefits thing real quick, just so I don't forget the other thing. So Bob Montegary is on the select board now.
Oh, that's a big one.
Sorry, I couldn't remember when that happened. It was since our last meeting. So the select board seated Bob Montegary back to the board. He had been on the board for a long time. He had been on the budget committee for a long time. And one of the things that he had for context, which I thought was helpful, that the other reason that they pulled it out was that so that for the smaller budgets, if there's a GMR of 15% on insurance, that's going to blow a small budget out of the water. It's going to make it seem like it has a huge increase. And so pulling all of the insurance stuff kind of to its own thing. So whatever the insurance rates are going to do, we're going to do them all kind of to the side. He said that was another part of that. I'm not saying I'm just.
Yeah.
Because, I guess not for cemetery, but like for planning board, they have 1 person. So if that insurance line goes up by 20%, that's going to look like the planning board budget's out of control.
Yeah, but I think we can see that when we discuss the
Yeah.
budgets, we'll know that is the reason that it's gone up that high.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm not sure about is with the tax cap, how do we explain it to the average taxpayer, right? So if they say the planning or finance, for example, went up by a whole bunch just because of insurance, how do we explain that isn't, I don't know.
Well,
Because
I would say,
proportionally.
well, that line, you can't reduce that line, right? Because it's it's a fixed cost. Once we have the agreement done with what plans and options and what the rates are and all that, right? It's really not something that could be changed on the finance department tab. It would have to be changed at a town level, so.
Are,
like-
are you saying for the initial year, if we go back to that format, and suddenly there's this huge, okay, I see what you're saying.
For the first
later,
year.
it wouldn't,
You're
be
correct.
that big of a deal, but yes,
Okay.
it would.
This,
But
this first
again,
year,
you can explain that.
it wouldn't
You brought
surprise
up-
me if this first year we do
Yeah,
a couple different things differently just to kind of get
yeah.
into the,
I'm sorry, that,
no,
yeah,
that's okay. Just maybe wait.
yeah, you're right.
But also, like, to your point, insurance is one of the items that department heads actually do not have control over.
Right, they don't have it on FICA, Medicare, or New Hampshire retirement either, right?
So why don't we pull those out too?
Yeah.
No, because the more you pull out, the less you actually see the cost of service for finance, general government, police, fire. You start losing and you start just lumping everything together and saying, oh, we can't manage that. Because it truly is managed at the departmental level because.
Because if we can't, right, we can't change FICA Medicare.
Could we have, though, areas that we cannot change in a separate subsection of each budget? Would that be helpful?
Right.
So like you have your police budget, you still have bottom total, right? But have a section of this is the section that police has no control over.
Or we don't have to have only one police budget. We could have police variable and police fixed or something.
Well, that's what I'm, yeah.
Yeah, like, and then literally, so kind of like, what is it?
Well, that's what I was saying.
Right, like debt
Split it.
services is broken out into 3 or 4 different departments, but then there's a debt service overall. Total. So we could do that. But again, I feel like it's only gonna be for the big ones. The little ones, it's,
I don't know, personally, I feel that it all should be under the department. I was against when they pulled it out in the first place. I think it's more honest to have it under each department.
we could have just our own report over, it's almost like a summary of all, it doesn't have to be in the accounting system, but like, I don't know if all Medicare ends in 225 and all, I mean, that would make.
yes.
Yes, it does.
It actually does.
And all health insurance ends in 210.
I can run that report.
Then
And-
you could say, okay, sure, this
Well-
cemetery budget looks wonky, but in our process, we do a review of Medicare as a whole, insurance as a whole, and all of these are just explainable
Well-
factors in the budget.
I think you have to remember that we love numbers and the average taxpayer does not love them as much as we do.
Yeah, but it's almost like, I don't know how the town report gets created, but it's almost like.
I create it.
uh,
We create
Last year.
Last year we created
Oh,
it.
shoot, this was
But if you are,
It's almost like we need like a benefits page. Do we already have that? I don't think that. we
No,
do.
but we
A
could.
benefits page that's like
We could.
Medicare, retirement, insurance.
So one of the things,
so there is a tab called insurance benefits that has all of them there right now.
Fabulous. Look at
But
Jim.
I think what the finance director was recommending is that because the health insurance is it's so much bigger than all the others, I'm not sure, whether it makes sense to put the dental all the way down at the lower level or short-term disability because they're so small, right, as a total. But where the health insurance is a pretty large portion, I agree with her that it should be at the account level because it allows you to see the true cost of services at each one of those accounts. And it is a manageable expense because if you are full-time 40 hours, you get the full package. If you're between 32 and 39, you get 75% of that. And if you're less than 32, you get none of it. So it's definitely something that the account manages and is responsible for. So I think driving it down does, and I think her point was it allows these department heads to see the true costs, and maybe they would have picked up something that if something didn't look right. But I just think in terms of doing it right and showing a true cost of service, that it should be there. And just like, I'm sure that's why we allocate FICA and New Hampshire retirement for that exact same reason, because it truly is in the control of the department head of that account.
I agree.
this is where I'm gonna say, hopefully we're gonna switch to a new accounting system soon, so don't get too excited about things we
But-
may be able to do with this.
But I'd like to just go back to what the request that you made was,
Mm.
you want to see these sheets for each funded position.
I don't even need, I literally just want to know
Mm.
every employee that you have,
Well, I think we're
how
saying
many
the same
hours
thing.
they work, and what their old rate of pay is and their new rate of pay. Like, I understand it's all in the spread, like, I understand it's all in the spreadsheet,
Mhm.
but if you want to just bring me a sheet of paper that says that, I'm fine with that too.
I am too. So in
Um,
other words, if this information is on one piece of paper that shows,
Yeah.
and whether it's a person's name or whether it's just a position,
It can
you
be
know,
the person's name. I
it-
mean, it's public information.
It's public information,
so-
so, right. I feel really strongly that we should have that on every funded position. And if they're not willing to give that information, then I'm like, well, I don't want to pull rank about the law, but it says per 32, 16, and 17, what we ask for, we get, and it's their duty to give it to us. And,
Question.
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
On the public information, as you talk about it,
Mm.
Karen, and I'm just saying to check it out, but Karen, for whatever reason, always blacked out the individual names. It was visible on the non-public, but do we actually do name by name?
I mean, we print the names and how much they make in the town report,
Okay,
so I'm not sure why.
I don't know. I guess like the changes and whatever, like when we had those kind of worksheets for whatever reason.
So the other thing that I think is going to be really helpful this year, Police Chief Doty created a predictable chart for if you work here for this many years and you're this level of employee, so that we can also just print that and say, all right, so here's, this employee, here's their name, they're at step whatever and rank whatever, and so this is what they're going to make this year. And if they pass their evaluation, they'll make this much next year. And it's all black and white. There's no question.
And like I said, some of them are obvious, like the one that I'm looking at right now, it says treasurer, bookkeeper, clerk, finance director. So these are individual positions, so you can see the information that I believe, Letty, that you're asking for, right?
Well, no. So why did the treasurer line go up by 29%?
I don't know.
Exactly.
We're gonna ask that.
But that's what I'm saying. So like, it's not actually as simple as that.
Well, I meant it's not it's a little simpler than when you see a line like this under I just grabbed the fire because it's
Sure.
a big one, but like it says salaries, boom.
Yep.
Like I don't have a clue how many people are in that or not. And
That's actually part-time per diem people is the best part, so that it's not a set number of people. Yes, the system calls it salaries. I don't know why.
and that's okay because like Wayne has
Um,
the same thing for the plow drivers, right? Like it's
Right.
just a fixed number, and that's okay if they say
111
that. If they say that line.
111 is wages for
Right.
full-time firefighters.
Right.
And there are, I think, 5 people in that line.
But we shouldn't have to guess. And for
Nope.
each one of them, I think what you're requesting and what I would like to see the same thing is for a person A, B, C, D, for each one,
Mhm.
current, recommended, so we can see those. And then when you add it all up, it equals this line.
And then the other goal with that would be that the select board could once a year just sign off on all of those at the same time. Again, so that there's a record.
So I'm hoping, since you've requested it, I don't have to formally request this through you to the select board, right? Because if we all want this, because
We'll let
you would
know
just give
how
it to us.
goes when we start to get
Okay,
into
well,
budgets.
I'll change the
Uh,
question. Do you think we should,
Yeah.
do you want us to request
One
it,
of
like
those.
officially? Do you want me to send? I assume you all agree with me that it'd be nice to have that, right?
Yeah.
Ahead of time, because otherwise it's just gonna be that night, we're gonna be asking the questions, and it's gonna.
I mean, most of those questions are gonna get asked before it gets to
I
you.
know, but I think if we had it ahead of time, we could kind of do some thinking on our own and maybe cut down on the amount of questions.
Well, you'll have it a week at. I would assume that the vast majority of the questions you would ask here are the similar ones to the ones I would ask at the select board level. So I can imagine that when I get the select board, whatever we're gonna get, I guess, for our packets, I could send that to you all. And if you have questions you want me to ask at the select board level, so that there's time before the budget committee meeting, would that be helpful?
And when do you get your packet? The day before the meeting, or?
Well, so we don't really get packets the way we used to, but I do have the budgets for tomorrow night already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't get them till Monday and we have to get our questions to you within the day, that's
Mhm.
kind of tight. That might be kind of tight.
But I guess it's hard because again, the ones that we have tomorrow are not
Right.
too spicy. But I can imagine that you and I are going to have a lot of the same questions.
Hmm.
So hopefully most of them get answered before they even get to the budget committee.
Lady, remember that one time, I don't remember which year, I'm sorry, today's not my good memory day. But you had a massive spreadsheet where you had every town employee and their like compensation as of that year and then where it was going.
That was not a spreadsheet that I had.
There was some, I swear we looked at something.
What was
Well, I'm sure you did,
when
but
there
I don't
was-
think it was me.
There was one, do you remember? I'm gonna have to go through my,
Was it when they did the wage
When they did-
study?
yeah.
Yeah.
and then there was literally every employee, their current rate and then the new rate and that maybe.
I mean, that's what I want.
But there was just one time, that there was such a worksheet, but that was kind of cool because then you could see the whole town, town employees all in the same place, not even like by department.
I think that was before.
I don't remember that ever seeing.
That was when
something
that
like
big adjustment was made one time, the study.
2022.
Something like that.
23.
Remember like the year when they did the study of 5 towns around, and maybe that was Karen who did it, but there was.
Yeah, I
one
don't
where-
remember.
But I could find it if that is good.
That would have made
But it
me
was
giddy.
when they adjusted, when it wasn't just the increase, but when it was an adjustment to like match the current market value or something. I was just thinking that it would be cool to have that.
It would.
So would it help the cause if I officially request this, Letty? Or do you think it wouldn't,
hurt.
doesn't matter?
Yeah, it won't hurt.
Okay, I'll put something together and get it, I'll send it to Paul.
But
Is that how you want me to do it, or do I just give it
do
to you?
However,
Well-
like I said, I've already asked for it. So, and I wish that tomorrow was something a little more.
Yeah, you definitely did ask for it. I just want to make sure that
Let me
it happens
see,
because we want it as well.
I don't think it hurts to let folks know that the budget committee is uniform
Right,
and also.
Right. So I'll just
Yeah.
send something to Paul, just saying that we discussed it at our meeting and we want the same information that Letty's asked for the select board, that it'll be passed to us as well.
What would that have been called? Wage study?
Would guess something like that.
I'll go through my emails too.
Okay. Do we have anything else on these initial requests then? Like I said, it was just more of, I took some items, I'll update the summary tab that you asked. And then I'll send the letter to Paul.
That looks great. Thank you for putting it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? Old business. Oh, okay, let me put this back up. Compensation ratio. The only thing I wanted to say is that there were 2 items I took down from last meeting. One was, the data being national based from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and asking if there was a way we could get regional information. And I know, Letty, just on the computer quickly, we're
I
trying to
literally
find it.
just Googled.
Absolutely. And you sent me the link. Thank you. I did look at the link. I followed up to do that. But honestly, the Bureau of Labor doesn't provide regional summaries for municipal workers. The numbers that Letty found, they do have regional numbers, but unfortunately it's they call it the entire civilian workforce, and that includes private sector and state and local government, and it excludes federal government, military, agriculture workers. So honestly, it's not a good, because you don't want to compare private sector to public sector. Really bad idea. I mean, salaries are just different, benefits are just different. And I did use the numbers that Letty gave us last time, and it blows it way out because it's actually lower than what we were seeing on the national, obviously, because it was like 1.4. So you can see the impact of so it's not helpful. And so honestly, where I think I want to leave this at, and I think I'm kind of done with that, but so we reviewed the ratios, obviously, and I just want to reiterate that I want to make sure people understand the importance of not trying to utilize the data to determine whether Brentwood benefits are competitive or in line with other similar New Hampshire municipalities, right? That's a national number. I didn't feel good that we were not below the national number, because I mean, I think if it would have shown a problem like that, I think we'd have another thing to talk about or talk to select board about. But anyways, it just simply shows how we compared with the national level. I've also had discussions with some of the department heads in town, specifically the fire department, about health insurance and looking at other local municipalities, because if you look at the other benefits like FICA or New Hampshire retirement, we're going to be the same as all the other towns in New Hampshire because, well, we have to be. But obviously, health insurance is a variable one, and it's a pretty big one. So it would make sense to be looking at other towns. But I think that'll be more in terms of looking at health insurance and not on overall compensation, okay? So that's how I kind of, that's my update on that anyways. I know you asked me to, and I know there was even discussions about, hey, the salaries that I picked, maybe how did you come up with them? What if we used an average like look at the firefighters, take an average, or police? And honestly, it doesn't change that much. And I just didn't like where it was going and what people were thinking the number was being used for. So unless somebody really had a specific request on this, I think we just leave it as it is and let the health insurance part kind of take care of itself. And like I said, I do have numbers from the fire department, and we kind of like working through that to get it a little more detailed so that we can use it for a legit comparison with Brentwood. Any questions on that? Okay. Okay. So I guess under new other business correspondence, departmental budget review schedule. So honestly, on this one, this is my first year going through this. So I guess I wanted to get kind of the feel of the board for how we want this to work, given we have now departmental requests. And when I reviewed it last time, per NHMA, they kind of say, well, the department heads, they work with the select board to come up with their request to the budget committee. And then we go through and we do our, to come up with what our number is. So as Letty said, though, like the questions might be very similar, so I don't have experience with doing this in Brentwood of how has it been done in the past or how this board wants to do it now in terms of, do we wait till so many of theirs get done and then we call those same ones in, or is it usually like they do theirs and we do it the week later, or how does the board want to proceed with that?
Well, I guess one of the questions is gonna be how aggressive the select board will be in trying to help us stay within the tax cap. Or are we gonna have to?
I can't speak for the board. I mean, I know technically I'm supposed to be here speaking for the board. I have a plan for how I would like to handle the tax cap. I would like to level fund the operating budget as much as possible. And anything that doesn't fit within that, I would like to put as a warrant article. I don't know how realistic that is given my board. But I think especially for this first year, I don't know how else. Because this is the first year we need to build a budget knowing that there's a tax cap, I feel like there's things that we're gonna have to do this year that are gonna be different. And so I'd rather level fund, or as close to level fund as I can, the operating budget, and then put everything else as a warrant article so that the taxpayers can decide where they would like to spend that 4%.
So what do you mean about everything? Explain that a little more. Like just leave every single line as it is now?
No.
Or
No, I would like to have the bottom number in the operating budget be the same as the bottom number that it is this year, plus the warrant article for the half person at rec.
And if that was going to happen, how would that be achieved? How would you make that happen? Or
Me-
how would you suggest
Me
that's
personally,
going to happen?
so I would say that this is one of those places where the select board would need to look at wants versus needs and focus on needs, and things that are wants might get pushed to warrant articles. But again, I'm one person, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that obviously, depending on how, we have to stay under the tax cap. I guess theoretically, the board doesn't, but we do. So if the select board's going to work towards that goal, then we won't have as much of a job, so to speak, to do if we're working in unison. If they're not, then it will.
I mean, like I said, we haven't done any
Mhm.
budgets yet, and I'm not sure how much other board members have looked at various things, but I think there's been this thing about wants and needs brought up a lot, and I think kind of putting the question of where people want that 4% to be back to the budget committee, and then furthermore to the taxpayers, is not the worst idea, because the way I see it, kind of the way I imagine it could work is that there are, I don't know, 10 or 15 warrant articles, and the budget committee picks which ones they think should be passed and would fit under the cap, and the select board would pick which ones they feel like should be approved, and then the taxpayers can order those as they see fit at the meeting.
So just, I will go back, when you say level fund, like they put in a placeholder right now of a 3% salary increase, right? So are you saying that would get pulled out and be a warrant that says like
Nope,
some
I'm
value
gonna-
for
nope,
salary,
Let me
or?
be more clear. I would like to have the bottom line number of the operating budget be 6771967, the same as it was last year.
So however those raises are managed, then
There would
something
need to be
comes out
cut
of other
somewhere,
areas.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, back to what you said, I think
But again,
we would want to be in line with how you were doing it. We even talked about this. I sent a letter to Paul. We want to work with the select board. We want to be on the same page. So I guess if you're going to bring this up, I think it's a good approach. It's one approach.
I mean,
It might be a good way.
even know how.
It's just, if you do that, realize that we still will have decisions to make, because we don't get to make warrants, but we vote to approve or not, right?
Mhm.
And once we reach the way the warrants work, once the warrants that are passed total up to the tax cap, all warrants after that have to have the wording and need a 3/5 majority. So, and I would think there may be warrants that we, board, feel are very important, and we're going to vote yes. We would vote yes.
Mhm.
But what we can't do is we cannot vote yes on a warrant that goes over the tax cap.
Right, so you'd have to decide which ones are the
Right,
most
so our
important.
board would have to pick out of the 15 warrants, okay, we can say yes to this one, yes to that one, yes to that one, and oh, by the way, we're still under the tax cap, good. So the rest of them, we'd have to say no.
But even then, the public could decide, you know what, I know you said no on warrant article 4, but
Absolutely,
like,
the
I
legislative
think-
body could absolutely
I
do that,
think
correct.
something, I don't know if it was here or at select board, we had talked about just putting the same language on all of the warrant articles.
Yep.
Because as we've seen in other meetings, people can reorder them however they feel like it, and then kind of just as we're going through, all right, which is the most important one you want to approve? That one? Okay. We're still below the cap. All right, let's pick which next.
And we could go back, I could go back to DRA, but I asked this question because it was like, well, how do you figure out? And they told me that it's as they come in. So they start to keep adding them up. And
Yep.
then once it goes over,
Yep.
that's it. Those warrants they're not put in there unless they've had the wording in the 3/5 majority. So we would have to, like you said, we'd have to know ahead of time
Yeah. I
to
mean,
vote it.
not just know ahead of time, we'd have to track it in real time because they can reorganize them anytime
Correct.
they feel like it.
Correct.
Who decides on the order initially? The select board? Or
I
whoever's
think
in
the
charge?
select board,
And then
although I believe bond issues have to be first,
Mhm.
and I believe the operating budget is typically second after any bonds, but I don't think that's a rule.
what about like, for lack of a better word, I guess like non-negotiable things if people show up to town meeting or like, you know what, nope, I don't want to approve that warrant article for say like election is one of the ones that has a big department increase because there was not a big election in 2025. There will be one in 2026.
So they don't get to decide individual lines.
Okay.
They can only, so for the operating budget, they can only vote yes or no, or change the number on the bottom.
Well, that's what I mean is if we level, well, I guess then you could just pull something out of a different budget, but
That's what I'm suggesting,
Yeah,
that the select
okay.
board do this year, maybe just this year, maybe we're gonna find out this is a disastrous way to do it. But like between several things that are already happening that we, like the stuff with trash is already at least a 5% increase. And other thing, like we've added a new position for a finance director, like things that are there now that are gonna kind of blow those individual lines out of the water. I would like to try to look to places that we could make cuts or push specific things out to warrant articles. Yes.
yeah. No, because I think there's definitely places that could be warrant articles such as snow and ice control, which is one of the other big increases.
Sure.
I think that one is a big one.
Sure. I mean, so again, we haven't, as a board, we haven't even talked about any of these yet. So, like, I'm not sure why there's such a big increase in snow and ice, and I know that you know, and we're,
You know, what do you mean?
you
know
helped him
what's-
with this.
Well, yeah. You see the 2025 appropriation of $45,000,
I do.
right?
Yeah.
There was a cut to the line of $141,000 last year.
Yeah.
And there's a note in the town report, excuse me, that says something about a CR for,
It's actually not, we encumbered funds. for-
yeah, you encumbered 35,000,
Sure.
but we don't want to get into this now.
No, but I'm just. so,
But
like,
there
that's
was a note in the
that's
town
a good
report saying
example
that,
of-
and I think it's a smart move, that why wouldn't you have a fund for sand, salt, cold patch? Because then if you have a year when you have a really mild winter, you don't have to worry about encumbering anything. The fund just automatically goes over, and all you need to do is every year make sure that you're putting enough in there to cover the worst case scenario. So like if Wayne says, hey, I need whatever it is, $220,000, you better have $250,000 in that account. So if there's already 200, well, we need only 50,000 for that year. If they used a lot of it, the next year you might need another 200,000. And I like using the account method, but what seems to have happened is that the line was cut
Yes.
and there wasn't a fund that was created or funded, because I could find no fund for salt, but.
Yeah, there's a
There's a
fund.
winter maintenance fund.
Right, but what they told me winter maintenance is for fixing equipment, like a plow that breaks, there's like $11,000 in it. And he told me it was restricted to fixing things that break in the winter, that it had nothing to do with materials.
I think it is worth,
But even if it is or isn't, there's only $11,000 in it. So that's why that number looks so big. And you might think like, oh, well, we'll put that on a warrant. But I mean, I think people want to have their roads salted. So
But
And-
looking like at historical numbers, because I know this did come up last year, there's been no year where they spent over $90,000, like not one in the last, I think, like 6 years.
that's a really good question.
So that's not a question. That is, we looked at it, and I recall
No, that is-
pulling
that
them
is-
up and looking myself.
that is actually why we cut it down to the number we cut it down to, is
I don't know
because
if
It's generally in the like 70 to 80.
I don't know if I have his,
range, so-
but he quoted to the select board how much he
Yeah.
used this year, and it was like I don't know. I know he said he needed 3,000 tons for next year. I thought he used like 2,800 tons this year and he gave them the price. So
I
it
just- I
doesn't
think
add
that
up.
220
If
Something
that's
doesn't
true,
add up.
then where is it?
Number is crazy.
Right? Like, if that's true, if he used that many tons, then why is this year actual only at 7,000? Yeah, but, so this is a good example of where we might ask questions and realize that maybe there's a different way we can fund this or
Right.
something.
Or
Right.
some data entry was done incorrectly.
Or whatever. We're gonna ask a lot of
I
questions.
went through all, he definitely spent like
But I
only
mean, like,
58,000
what's
this
the
year.
downside to creating a separate CR that's like,
There isn't one.
yeah, that's just
But
for
that- but
not
that
other
again-
winter maintenance, it's
But
just
that
for
again
snow and
wouldn't
ice.
be then in this
Yeah.
operating budget.
Right.
Yeah, but then if we have a ton of, because there were definitely some years where it was like, oh, maybe only 50, 60,000. We may fund that to a level where then like there's a couple warm winters in a row where like we put basically nothing in there.
Correct.
That's what Jim is saying.
That's exactly what,
Okay.
and I honestly, I thought it was, might have been, Letty, did you bring this up last year? Yeah, the
yep,
select
I've
board
been
brought
bringing
this
it up.
up, about creating a fund
Yeah.
for this. So, and it's a good idea.
So it sounds like we're all on the same page that maybe a fund is a great idea.
It does sometimes
Yeah.
feel like Groundhog Day.
But again, I couldn't, I got all the reports on the funds and I did see the winter maintenance, but he told me that was not for, so we have to
I
ask.
believe he means very well, but I'm also quite certain that's not what it's for.
Okay. And we could change that anyways too.
Yep.
If it didn't have it, we could change it to that, to
Yeah,
include that
I thought it
at town
included
meeting.
all. Well, we could, yes, we can look it up.
How did we-
Somebody's ding dong. Michelle, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should save this for when we get to the highway and snow and ice.
But that's a perfect example of something that might not make it to you looking like this.
Right. So back to, I just want to know, because we're gonna get the subcommittee updates and then public comments, but for our next meeting, like, what does the board, what's the board's pleasure on terms of meeting? I feel like I don't know what the select board has, they haven't really talked about what their approach is, so it's hard for me to know when we should schedule our meetings, because I don't think we should be talking to department heads until they square it away with the select board. I really,
Is there a schedule? Has it been published or is it
I
somewhere?
just sent it to Jim.
Okay. Because I think
Thank
that
you.
if we go from that, at least
Yeah.
preliminary, and then you can change it as they, because you go to those meetings anyways, I watch them.
Have been.
Sometimes what we've done in the past is throw the schedule up of the department heads with the select board and then like circle them and be like, all right, this one's small. Oh, and then we have a big one. Let's like group those together. Then we'll meet right after the big one. And then we'll look at the next and be like, oh, we need 2 meetings in between here.
So at the very least, I would suggest not meeting next Monday. So it doesn't stress Dan out. But because the ones that we have next week are relatively small, in theory, you could do all of them.
Letty,
the
can you
week-
throw
What are
the
the next?
agenda
yeah,
up?
you want to switch? I'm done. Do you want me to?
I just sent it to you if you want to pull it up.
Internet here. Oh, I do.
Look at that.
Yeah, so we could
Okay.
do,
So it really depends on those October 7th budgets, how much they change.
I don't anticipate them changing.
So like 13.
It's a holiday. Do we meet on holidays?
Wouldn't matter to me.
I mean, realistically, the
20?
the next week, I think we could, so those first 3 groups,
Yeah.
we could all do the 20th because they're,
Right.
I mean,
I
you're,
mean,
we're not
could.
gonna.
We don't get them all done, we don't get them all done,
Right.
Yeah.
or we do, you know, half
Right,
of them.
well, and I guess after tomorrow night, if this board would like me to ask other more or different questions in general, when budgets come to the select board, let me know, and I'm happy to ask those ahead of
Okay.
time, like, right, like, if you're
Yeah.
always gonna
All
wanna
right.
know X,
Yeah,
Y, and
that's a
Z,
good idea. If you,
then even if
you'll
I
do
don't,
that.
yeah, I don't mind. Because I think that's half of what the battle is like, oh, here's the question. Oh, let me get back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a really good idea, because then it kind of links the two groups together, like she said, like, so if there's specific questions we have on any of those groups, we feed them to Letty. And I don't know, do you want it to come through me? That way you'll just get one email, or do you
Oh, I
care?
don't mind if people.
Okay.
email me, but like, I don't know if there's general questions that you're gonna ask for every one, or if it's specific.
Yeah, let's do that. Like, so at least you want a day, 2 days maybe before. That way Letty won't get inundated with because I can just see it, we're all gonna have the same question, right? So feed your questions on any of these to me. I'll summarize it and get it to Letty at least 2 days before they're gonna have their meeting.
How about I do you one better?
Sure.
I'm gonna create a shared document that you can all edit.
Wow.
So I'm
Technology.
gonna put
I don't think so.
no, but you can edit my document. So I'm gonna put basically this document, and then underneath each, if you have a question about emergency management,
Okay.
your question.
Yeah, that's perfect, because then we each see it. We won't repeat the question, or maybe if you ask something and maybe we'll tweak it a little bit, right? Like, or you tweak mine, like, that's perfect.
Or like, just like, put like
Yeah,
10 seconds. this,
exactly.
This
No,
is
no.
a really.
Well,
Yeah.
want to be careful
I
that
feel
we're
like
not.
we're working in
True.
the.
No, no,
process
no.
right now.
Um,
All right, thank you. That's really good.
So are we thinking the 20th? Then?
At
I
6?
think I can make it.
Let's watch.
And we'll do that at 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, so October 20th at 6 PM?
Do we want to do the 27th also?
probably.
Yeah. Because
In
then
case we
any
can't get through all of them,
leftovers
yeah.
can get lumped into the ones
One,
you guys are
they're
going
gonna
over on the
keep coming.
21st.
Mhm.
Because then by the ones on the 28th, they get maybe a little more to do.
And then
I mean, how many
copy.
do we want to put out there?
Yeah, I would rather get as many things on the schedule as possible, just so.
The next one will be the 10th.
Wait a minute,
You skipping the 3rd?
I am.
we have the 20th, and you said the 27th, right?
October 20, October 27.
Yep.
Every month, Dan, I'd have to be like, sorry, I'm not gonna be here. It's the first Monday.
Yeah.
If we do them at 5, then I can be here for the first hour.
I think it's probably better to just,
Yeah, don't shake things up just for me.
we're not going to
Do
do
you
a
mind
1-hour
scrolling
meeting
down
with
on
budget
your schedule
season.
or on the schedule? Thank you.
Okay, so October 20, October 27, November 10, November 17. Do we want to do the week of Thanksgiving? No. I don't, personally. So then we would look at December 8th,
Hold on, I'm still putting November 10th in.
I know, this was
December 15th,
November 10th and November 17th.
and then I think we should stop there.
Stop at the 17th.
No, November 17th and December 8th and December 15th,
December 8th. 15th.
unless we want to do December 22nd.
No,
Definitely not.
no, no.
If any, yeah, I was gonna say, if anything, I'd rather add one before Thanksgiving then. The 15th might be rough,
Michelle, can you repeat that?
but we'll figure it
October
out.
20, October 27,
Yep.
November 10, November 17,
Yep.
December 8, December 15.
Okay.
We have skipped all the first Mondays.
And we might not need, like,
Right.
Correct,
Yeah,
but
if we
I'd
can
rather
get rid
have
of the
one.
if we don't need the 15th one, that would be ideal.
Yep.
Because that is either the first day or first night of Hanukkah. If it's the first night, I might not be here, but if it's the first day, it's fine.
I mean, at least in my calendar it says first.
Yeah. So I can never remember if my
I don't know
calendar
if the
does
base
day
does.
or if it
Yeah.
puts it on the
does
correct
say-
night.
It does say first day.
Yeah. But hopefully the 15th ends up
15th,
being
and then it's
not
January
necessary.
2026. I still haven't gotten used to it being 2025.
And these are all at 6,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. And you'll let us know the shared doc.
Yeah, I'm creating it right now.
Awesome, thank you. Anything, any subcommittee have an update? Really don't have one for health, not enough there.
No, but as the select board, I think they said that they'd be getting the new rates October 7th.
The new what?
The new rates from Health Trust.
Oh, nice.
I can tell you that I have been looking at what other plans the town might be interested in. Plans that offer FSAs, high deductible, such and such and such. I have no information about that yet. All I have is last year's rates.
Anybody else? No? Public comments? What is it? It says
It's
what?
Cool.
What is that?
Is that?
I didn't make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for putting that out.
thank you.
It's under general. Is that?
Like, you think that means general and is in the general tab, or general and we're just gonna discuss it in general?
I
Who knows?
Oh, general gov?
like general
No,
government.
No, it literally says review budgets. First item is general, second item is emergency management, conservation, welfare, so I don't really.
Maybe it means like
General, just
overall.
how it's gonna
Okay,
work.
overall.
But
Got it.
not general government?
Okay, that,
I
No.
don't think general.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's.
no,
not on
because
the
general
list.
government's down on November 18th, right?
Oh, okay.
Maybe they are
Shut
just
up.
talking about how it's gonna work this year, or
Okay.
such thing.
I may have suggested that. So
Okay.
Anything else from anyone? That said, guess
Make a second.
motion to adjourn from Gabby, second from Kat. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Wow.
You don't know
Ah,
that
that was
early?
great.